Hundreds of members of that migrant caravan from Central America we've been telling you about are now camped at the U.S.-Mexico border. The members have no right to enter the United States legally, but that has not stopped the press from openly encouraging them to do it anyway. Over at NBC, talking heads suggested that the Statue of Liberty, the poem at the bottom, somehow, with no vote being taken, has become federal law and commands us to let them in, no questions asked. Watch.
A very public test of American resolve over immigration policy, as well as the limits of American compassion.
These are the faces of the desperate, locked out on the doorstep of the United States waiting.
The president said, have you seen this caravan? Have you seen the caravan? I ask you, Mr. President, have you?
We
what do you
continue
think
this discussion.
The Statue of Liberty would say if she met them?
Come on in. Let me help you out.
It's like, how do people that dumb get TV jobs? I guess they're just passing them out. Over at CNN, meanwhile, United Shades of America host Camo Bell has gone even farther than that. He says that all borders everywhere are immoral.
This idea of borders and walls is ridiculous. We're too good for this. The point is, walls suck. This $3 billion manifestation of irrational fear stoked by politicians running for elected office is made of concrete barriers, steel beams, double-layered fencing, and barriers fit for the beaches of Normandy. Welcome to America's Got Talent, but it's wasting it on building this wall.
Here's a guy. He'd want to ask, do you lock your door? You got a password on your email? Why, it's just a manifestation of fear, I guess. Well, CNN and NBC operate out of America. They cover American news. Americans work there, but they are not interested in the interests of Americans, obviously. Ethan Behrman is a California radio host, and he joins us tonight. So, Ethan, I assume, like every good progressive, you're for letting the members of the caravan in. And I just want to be clear, I'm not against the members. I would want to come here, too, if I lived in Honduras. I understand completely. But it raises the question, since they're not the only people who want to come here, where do you draw the line? What's the limit for people seeking a better life coming to this country?
Well, we have great capacity to accept people into our country, and it follows the Judeo-Christian ethic and morals that we would help those who are less fortunate. Plus, we also signed the 1951 UN Convention on Refugees, which actually sets forth the three aspects of how we determine who to let in under asylum and refugee status. And that's what these people are coming here for is they're fleeing the violence. They're fleeing governments that are not able to protect them from violent gangs. And they're coming here to get a better life. And by the way, we have...
And in some cases, joining violent gangs that our government refuses to protect us from. So it is kind of the circle of life in some ways. But let me just ask you more precisely about what the limit is. So there are 1.2 billion people in Africa. Probably 1 billion fall into the categories you just described. How many have a right to come here? What is our capacity?
Well, up until now, I mean, we've been able to absorb roughly 1 million people legally immigrating into the United States every year.
Right.
We know that under President Obama, it was over 100,000 refugees every year that we were able to allow in as well. So we can absorb. I mean, by the way, this caravan
wait, hold on. Before you make generalizations,
yeah.
I want to get specific. So those, you're right with those numbers. Those are basically the numbers. And then various people come in under other programs. So it's maybe 1.5 million a year legally. We've done this for a long time. But the left is saying that's way too restrictive. So what's the number? I mean, again, let's stipulate 1 billion people want to move here next week, probably all to San Diego. How many should we let in under the Judeo-Christian ethic that you're citing?
Well, this is also part of the Judeo-Christian ethic would be to help their governments become better functioning, and this is where foreign aid comes into play.
Let's not dodge the question. We spend, okay, come on. There's no evidence that our foreign aid has ever made any government better. I wish it were true, but it's not. Life expectancy in a lot of Africa is lower than it was in 1965 when the colonial powers left. So it doesn't necessarily work that way, as you know. But what's the number? Like, how many? Because this is going to keep happening. With every wave, it incites more waves. And when can we say enough? When are we allowed to say that's too many?
Well, first things first, I mean, I will answer your question as well, which I think is that 1.5 million number. But at the same time, the Trump administration has dramatically cut back on the number of legal immigration. Okay, right. That is, Syrian refugees, we let 11 in so far this year, as opposed to 15,000. 750,000 people have died in Syria. That's the most clear example of helping refugees.
Okay.
What's that, Tucker?
But these are on the margins. Again, is there a number, or does talking about it scare the crap out of the country and reveal your real agenda, which is to totally overwhelm and change the country? Because that really is what it's about, as you know. I mean, you don't want to be honest about what the limit is? Is it just kind of like as long as our compassion lasts? It's a sincere question.
I actually just answered. I mean, I think that 1.5 million number is
so we just keep it
pretty
there.
fair.
1.5. That's
I think that.
So that'll continue. That'll
Yeah,
make the country totally unrecognizable in 30 years, but not in 5 years. So that's enough. Is 1.5 million. I mean, I don't think that's what the left is arguing for, because they're saying that we can't turn anyone down.
The country is. But Tucker, the country is unrecognizable from what it was in 1900, from 1800.
It's true.
You're
right.
We're all strangers in a strange land, and we have to remember that we are a country of immigrants, of people who were refugees and asylum seekers.
No, we're not.
We're
actually that's where you're wrong. We're a country of Americans. We're a country of Americans. We're not a country of immigrants, not of foreign nationals pledging allegiance to multiple countries simultaneously. We're a country of Americans who look many different colors, many different religions, but we're Americans. And when you stop acknowledging that, that's when things fall apart into this mosaic of tribal warfare, as you know. So why does no one ever say that?
Because, I mean, let's be honest. So Carlson, I don't know if that's Norwegian or German, but remember, we didn't allow Germans to teach German to their kids. And that was a Supreme Court case that had to be settled in the early 20th century, because we have this issue where we don't like people who are different from us
racist.
at the time.
Okay,
and then
so
they
we
become
deserve
part
this.
of our
This is our
country, the
punishment
melting
for
pot
our
of the United
racism.
States.
Okay. I love it, because the longer these conversations go on, the more you get to the beating heart of the truth, which is this is punishment. That's really what this is. As you know. So
Tucker,
good.
come on. All the studies have shown the 4 Ds of the jobs that refugees and asylum seekers take actually benefit the economy within 5 years upon arrival. All of the studies have shown a positive economic impact in the regions where
I
they
just
settle.
want to say,
So,
unfortunately, we're out of time, but let me just say, as someone who does this for a living, that's totally untrue. Text me those studies, and we'll talk about it next week and go through them forensically. It'll be fun. Ethan, we're out of time. It's great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.
The U.S. appears to be lurching much closer to conflict with Iran. Is that a good idea? We'll tell you next. Also, a real-life Pocahontas descendant. We found one, and she says the president's use of the word Pocahontas against Elizabeth Warren is not a racial slur. Huh. We're going to meet her in just a minute. We're excited here. We hope you are too.